Hi, this is Dr. Cindy Banyai, Democratic candidate for U.S. House of Representatives, Florida 19, and this is Perspective on Lee Pitts Live. This segment, we're going to be talking about the Florida legislature and their session in 2022. What's happening in Tallahassee? It's that time of year again, the Florida state legislative session. It's Christmas for politicos in Florida. The legislative session runs from January to March each year. During this time, elected state officials descend on Tallahassee to push their agenda. The decisions that are made in Tallahassee each year play a big role in the lives of everyday Floridians. It's like a political hurricane. Things happen fast and it's over quickly, but the consequences and aftermath are huge. Let's take a look at the Southwest Florida players and the 2022 legislative session and talk about what's at stake for our community. A primer on the Florida legislature. Florida has two houses in our state legislature, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Representatives must live in the district they represent. The state house has 120 members, 78 Republicans, and 40 Democrats. They serve 2-year terms and have a 4-year term limit. The state senators have 40 members, 25 Republicans, and 15 Democrats. They serve 4-year terms and a 2-year term limit. There is an overwhelming Republican control of both houses of the Florida legislature, as well as the governor. This is strange because there are close to the same amount of registered Republicans and Democrats in the state of Florida, 35.9% for Republicans and 35.6% for Democrats. This is indicative of political clustering and gerrymandering. What happens in the state legislature? Well, they handle state law. The U.S. Constitution outlines what is in the federal jurisdiction and handled by the President, Congress, and Supreme Court. And the Supremacy Clause in the Constitution states that federal law supersedes state and local law. And everything else is up to the states. Southwest Florida legislatures include Florida State Senators Ray Rodriguez for Senate District 27 in Lee County, and Kathleen Pasadomo, Senate District 28 in Collier and Hendry County, as well as Florida State Representatives Adam Botana, House District 76 in Bonita Springs, Mike Giambardo, House District 77, Cape Coral, Jenna Persons, House District 78, Fort Myers, Spencer Roach, House District 79, North Fort Myers, Lauren Mello, House District 80, Naples and Hendry, and Bob Rommel, House District 106, Naples. They are all Republicans, and for the most part, all white. What's in store for the Florida 2022 legislative session? Like the president drives federal policy, the state's governor drives state policy. Florida Governor Republican Ron DeSantis lists 10 priorities according to the Naples Daily News. They include cryptocurrency, so people can pay for state services with blockchain technology, elections enforcement to investigate and prosecute election-related crimes, Florida State Guard, Ron DeSantis' own military force, restoring Freedom Tower in Miami, a gas tax cut, cutting 25 cents per gallon tax and using the federal stimulus dollars from the American Rescue Plan to fund it, hiring and keeping cops with bonuses again from the American Rescue Plan, immigration crackdown, stopping sanctuary cities and making employers use E-Verify, snake hunt for Burmese pythons in the Everglades, teacher bonuses, also funded through the American Rescue Plan, and testing overhaul, replacing the FSA. While that is what Ron DeSantis wants, there are other things going on in the Florida legislature as well. With the heavy Republican majority, much of their agenda will be passed. Unfortunately, this leaves Democrats little ability to pass anything and only a scant chance to put things into bipartisan bills. There are a few bipartisan bills on the horizon, and they include improvements and restrictions on medical marijuana, expansion of telehealth, juvenile expulsion, which will help clear records of youth through the participation in a behavioral program, nursing home revenue and transparency, reviewing the use of Medicaid dollars, social media literacy in schools, and prescription drug importation. There are also far-right politics at play. Groups like Americans for Prosperity in Florida, which funds candidates like Byron Donalds, are pushing for school choice, private and charter school vouchers, an expansion of energy choice, more gas, and union busting. Bob Rommel of Naples filed a bill to record and microphone teachers, part of a far-right attack on schools tied to their hyperbole on critical race theory. A bill for a ban on abortions after 15 weeks, with no exceptions for rape and incest, has also been filed. Redistricting is a must for the Florida legislature this year. The House and Senate committees are finalizing maps for mandatory 10-year redistricting based on census figures. This has added one additional congressional seat and is moving all the lines for the state House and state Senate based on population shifts. So we'll also decide who among the Senate will have the potential to earn an extra 2 years because of term limits. And it's good to note that all state House and Senate seats are up for election in 2022 because of redistricting. Overall, what does this mean for our community? Most of DeSantis's and the GOP priorities don't seem to matter much to us, unless you are planning on using Bitcoin to update your license. However, some things will affect us here in Southwest Florida. For instance, some teachers and first responders may benefit from the bonuses that will come from the budget this year that is being funded by the American Rescue Plan, which is passed through the U.S. Congress on party lines, with Democrats pushing it through. School choice initiatives may seem like a nice way to empower parents, but with so many predatory and for-profit charter schools, most children do not widely benefit from such programs. School choice only stresses school budgets and ends up hurting more kids than it helps. The elections enforcement is simply red meat for far-right voters. The audits conducted in the state of Florida by each supervisor of elections across the state indicated no fraud, and people lauded Florida as the gold standard for elections in 2020. The only fraud, aside from a handful of individuals casting multiple ballots, was a straw candidate scheme that several GOP operatives are facing felonies for. The elections enforcement could also make it harder for regular people to vote. And most of DeSantis' agenda isn't about us. It's about stoking the base leading up to his presidential run, potentially in 2024. The expansion of telehealth, nursing home oversight, medical marijuana, and drug importation could all have positive health benefits for people in our community. However, these fall short of the biggest issues that we have, like access to care and cost. The Medicaid expansion that DeSantis and the Florida Republicans failed to implement would have made a much bigger impact. Everyone, from students to parents to teachers, will be happy to see the FSA go. However, we don't know what they'll replace it with. So things could get worse based on some of the far-right rhetoric we see on education. This is yet to be seen. The juvenile expulsion could be a benefit to those who have been in trouble. And let's hope that its implementation is accessible to those who need it. The abortion bill could impact women's reproductive freedom. It infringes on a woman's constitutional right to medical privacy and freedom and will disproportionately hurt low-income families and vulnerable people. The gas tax rollback, well, everyone likes lower gas prices. Thank you, Democrats, for passing the American Rescue Plan that will fund that gas subsidy here in the state of Florida. And finally, your vote is important. All congressional and state legislature seats are on the ballot in 2022, along with county and city officials. Make sure you are registered to vote and enroll and vote by mail. Around 300,000 Floridians were kicked off the voter rolls because of the state legislative action in 2021. So check your voter status at vote.org. The primary date is August 23rd and the general election is November 8th. Get ready to vote. Your voice matters. Thanks for joining this session of Perspective, focusing on the Florida 2022 legislative session. And now, back to Lee Pitts Live.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.
Hello everybody, this is Lee. I'm so glad that you watched that particular show, and if you enjoyed that show, we got other shows like that. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch Lee Pitts Live on demand anytime, and also hit us up on all our social media platforms. Just type in Lee Pitts Live, and there you go.